Hey everybody, welcome to Open the Gates. I'm your host, Matt Burke. And tonight's show, we're going to be having on Edwin Acevedo. He's talking about Raid of the White Leopard. It's this awesome Viking book. So if you guys could give a warm welcome to Edwin. What up, Edwin? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing better, man. It's been a pretty crazy week for me, man. Just having to go in and out of the hospital for my kid, but he's doing great now. And I'm here with you and about to chill and talk some Viking stuff.
Nothing better.
Hell yeah, man. How's your day going, man?
It's good. Like I said, I was working most of the day. I literally just got home like 10 minutes ago. So trying to set up the stream, gotta do the 9 to 5 to pay for these comics. So,
For sure, man. The blue collar comic hustle, dude.
Got it.
Yeah, that's sweet, man. Yeah, man. It's been a pretty crazy campaign for you, huh? You're on a new website right now. Find My Comic, is that right?
Yeah, just decided to join Dillard and some of these other creators and taking that leap.
Yeah,
we need a new space. Like we work too hard to be shadow banned and to have like shenanigans, like some of these other sites. Like we just want to put out comics, man. Like it ain't that serious. So it's Fund My Comics, giving everybody a platform. So I had this project in the stash. I wasn't really sure how I was gonna put it out, and then once I saw Fund My Comic kicking off and I saw Dillard do his thing, I was like, you know what? Let's put my money where my mouth is and let's see if we can get this thing funded. So we went all or nothing here on this campaign. We're close, man. We're like 83%. So we're trying to get to that, 1,500 funding goal. We're like 250 away, about a little more. So yeah, man, get close.
That's awesome, man. It seems like with each kind of, I don't know, man, each really like built up campaign like you and Dillard that go to that site, the launches are getting bigger and bigger. And the site is still in its infancy, so I could just see it getting bigger and bigger. More people are coming over. I'm really digging the whole concept of having one site basically to kind of go to for comics, for like crowdfunded comics. I mean, obviously you want to get out there. There's different places where people are going to back you regardless because that's what they're used to. But for me, or as a customer, I think it would be kind of cool just to go to one site and shop around and get what I want. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to get there, and I think with this site it's it's pretty awesome, and yeah, man, it's going to be great. The first books you put out were Ace. It's a pretty awesome like space book. With Spaceman in it. I really like the book. I got the second one. I haven't read it or done a review on it yet. I want to kind of do that. Really love that book. I love your take, the way you tell your stories. I think it's pretty cool. I've seen this book you're launching. It spoke to me. I love Viking stuff, so I'm kind of a Viking stan. I was wondering, man, like what's like who are some of your favorite, like as far as like writers go, who are some of your inspirations?
I mean, I grew up on X-Men and Spider-Man in the early 90s. Like to me, like got the tail end of Claremont's run, and then went to Scott Lobdell and Fabian Nicieza. I love what they did. What Todd did on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Then eventually, as I got older and kind of like, I went heavy DC probably in the 2000s. And Jeff Johns was like, Kurt Busiek were like the two guys probably in the 2000s that spoke to me the most. I love what Kurt did with George Perez and Avengers. I thought that run was fantastic. And then obviously Jeff Johns with Green Lantern. They kind of set that standard, this big kind of space epics, this kind of larger than life, while also doing grounded like character work and stuff. So
yeah, that's cool.
Like some of my influences there.
And I could have sworn that I caught you on a stream where you were talking about as a kid you like drawing and maybe you wanted to be like a comic artist growing up. Is that true?
Oh yeah, that was the dream, man. I wanted to be, I thought the Marvel bullpen was real, I wanted to be there, with all the with Jim Lee and all the guys. But yeah, I just never had the artistic talent. By the time high school came around, it wasn't panning out, so I knew that wasn't gonna be it. But I always loved creating, and I would write down story ideas and notes even when they had nowhere to go. Like something about comics really just fueled like an excitement of stories. It just never really had like the outlet until like this new kind of indie movement where we get kind of fund our own comics and we can really do some really cool work and meet talented artists who are looking for work. It was kind of like the perfect storm that's popped up by the last 6, 7 years.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love the whole movement, man. With the comics, some of the artists who are some of your favorite artists growing up, man.
I mean, Todd, Jim Lee, Liefeld,
Mm.
all those guys were just they. Will Sportatio is probably number one. His Uncanny X-Men run was just like that's the book that hooked me. It's like I think it was 283 with a Stormin Bishop on the cover. Just remember that just blowing my mind. I didn't know who these characters were, but I just grabbed them like this is cool. And then I started thumbing through and I saw him drawing Archangel and Iceman and Colossus, and I was like, whoa, this is unlike anything I've ever seen. And then obviously Todd with Spider-Man, like he just gave me like an updated look and feel. Like it just felt so cool.
The Draftsman.
And then
he was like my idol when I was in 10th grade. I think it was 9th or 10th grade. And like, who do you want to be, like aspire to be, like if you could name somebody? And I was like, well, Tommy Farland. It was at the time he bought that $4 million baseball. But like growing up, I always like Spawn, and the Max was always like the main one that I kind of was always drawing or looking into. As a kid, I loved the panel work and just the story, but it kind of fizzled out. But Spawn was always the most badass looking character, like and Pitt was pretty cool too. I liked a lot of the Image stuff when I was growing up.
Oh yeah, man, I was super into like Youngblood and Wildcats, all that kind of stuff. I've always been a fan of like new heroes. I think like it's always cool to like do something new and kind of put it in its own space. Even like some of the last comics that I bought, as far as like mainstream or like the New Age of Heroes DC did. Yeah. They had Damage. They had is it Silencer, I believe.
Oh yeah. That was that one with the Romita Jr., I think.
Yeah.
That one.
Like they had like all these new heroes but they were kind of like in their own small part of the universe. So like, you could just kind of do whatever you want with them. I thought ideas like that to me have always been cool. Like I'm a huge fan of Darkhawk. I discovered Darkhawk, Sleepwalker, Devs Head 2, these funky side books that didn't really like hit the mainstream, but they were like in their own little cool spot. And every once in a while they'd interact with a Spider-Man or Captain America or something. And it was so awesome because, you got to see these new heroes interact with like the classic ones. And I always thought there wasn't enough of that. Like I just think people just got caught up in just trying to reboot stuff and just put all the main heroes together, and they stopped like creating new ones that were interesting and different. So
hell yeah,
that's kind of also another thing that kind of inspired me to create the Ace and stuff. I was trying to fill a hole that wasn't there, hadn't been there for a while.
So with that being said, you talked a little about yourself. I know you. I've known you for a few years now, but maybe a little quick. You want to tell a little, if anyone's watching, maybe a little bit about yourself, a little bit more, if
sure. Yeah. So I'm a lifelong comic book fan. Like I said, came here when I was about 7 in the States and discovered comics, man. They kind of changed my life, It's been heavy into them probably from like 90, 91 to like about like 98. Then took a little hiatus and then came back in the early 2000s. Like I said, Avengers, Green Lantern were like super heavy, especially Green Lantern, man. That whole Jeff Johns 10-year run was crazy. And yeah, man, like finally getting a chance a couple of years ago to put out my own comic book. The Ace Volume 1 was just a dream come true, son. I never thought it would be a reality. And then, I've been able to do a couple more books after that. I did Ace Volume 2. I did Bloodbone.
Bloodbone.
Did some work for Alterna, which published the first part of Raid. And now I'm putting out like the full Raid #1 on Fund My Comic, man. So it's been a crazy journey the last couple of like 5 years.
That's cool, man. And like, I think I do have the actual issue in which I think it came out on Wednesday, was the first appearance of Raid of the White Leopard. I haven't even read it yet. Now I'm not going to like read it for a while just because I want to wait to get the whole package and go back and check that out. Yeah. Also, I was wondering, man, what's your favorite movie?
Oh God, I mean, I got to pick them by genre.
Right.
I love like anything from like, Gladiator to like, comedies like 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah,
talk to me like I can just, and is anything depending on the genre. I love like movies like Bloodsport, like
Love
big like
Bloodsport. Yeah.
action movies and stuff. It just kind of depends what genre you're talking about. Like I was
Right.
super heavy into movies, probably like anything from like 80 to like 2000. Like
Yeah.
I probably watched it at least once. Like
Yeah. Me too.
I would just watch anything that was on TV. Like it's super crazy. I kind of slowed down afterwards, and now, but I'm starting to like revisit some of like the stuff. Like yeah, it's fun, man. You kind of like you forget after a while, especially when you revisit things. Like a movie that I always revisit because it holds a special place in my heart is the first Mortal Kombat.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good
Love the
one.
first Mortal Kombat.
Pumps you up.
I watch it every like year almost. It's become
Yeah.
like religious, and it's just like it is so much fun, man. And like 13-year-old me just like
Oh yeah. Yeah.
shines every time I see it.
Yeah. Like
For
when
all
Liu
its
Kang's on the
faults,
ground and the
yeah,
song comes on, at the end when he's in the
yeah,
pit,
just
the
like
spikes come up through the foil or whatever, and
yeah,
oh yeah,
the fight between like Scorpion and Johnny Cage
oh yeah,
always
get
gets
down
me.
here.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
that whole is just fantastic. It's just it always brings a smile on my face. And yeah, man. So yeah, I love movies. We need more kind of that style of movies
Right.
back. Stuff that really
Yeah.
kind of it's just fun, man. It's fun entertainment. You can watch it, you can enjoy it, you can revisit it, and it only brings good memories.
Oh yeah, totally, man. I read too. They're making a sequel to Gladiator too. I guess it's like the Joaquin
Yeah.
Phoenix's son that
Hmm.
is growing up, and Russell Crowe was kind of mad that he didn't, kind of a little butthurt he didn't get to be in the movie, which I don't know how, but I don't care. I would have taken it. It was funny too because you're talking about some of these older movies. Yesterday, I had a little Hulk Hogan like marathon at my house just because it's like fuck it.
Yeah.
I was just scrolling through the movies, right? And my daughter, it was just me and my daughter. I was watching her yesterday, and she's like, "Oh, I want to watch Mr. Nanny." I'm like, "I'm like Mr. Nanny, all right." So I never watched that one. So I watched it. That shit was fucking hilarious. I was like laughing my ass off. I mean, it's cheesy. It's cheesy, right?
Yeah.
It's like kind of cartoony, but dude, I was laughing, and I was like, all right, well, there was a movie I used to watch with Hogan. I used to watch No Holds Barred with him
Hmm.
and it was Zeus, right? But the one I watched more was Suburban Commando. That was the
Oh
one I
yeah.
always watched, and that was on YouTube for free. So I watched that
It's probably
yesterday.
his best one.
It's his best and biggest, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
And I was watching that, and I always forget Undertaker's in there. Undertaker plays a bounty hunter, and I was just like, "Damn, this movie is a fucking kids' family version of one comic of Lobo." Like that's kind of what it is in some ways.
Yeah.
I really dug that. I thought that was funny. Um, Another movie I really liked last year was The Northman. I don't know if you got a chance to see that.
No,
Uh,
not yet.
so I know obviously you like Viking stuff. I really hard recommend that movie, dude. Um, it's like a Viking. It's basically a Viking revenge tale, and
Mhm.
a lot of people were kind of disappointed because they thought it was going to be this big sprawling like epic Viking movie, but it's not. It's kind of like the proto Hamlet. It's about Amleth, or that's where they get that's Shakespeare kind of got that from that, and he has to go on this big journey and find out who like his basically his dad gets murdered, and he usurps his throne, and he has to become a slave, and then a berserker, and then go back, and it's a modern it's got a lot of Conan influence, so you're gonna get some sword and sorcery in there too. He fights this giant fucking a giant in a burial mound ship. It's fucking dope. He has to take his sword, and oh man, I like upon second viewing, I liked it a lot more. Hard recommend.
That's cool.
Speaking of like Vikings, man, I got your campaign. I actually pulled up right here. If you like, I could share it, or if you want to share it, we can do that if you
No,
like.
man, go ahead. My connection to StreamYard gets a little iffy, so it's probably better on your end.
For sure, man. I'll do that right now. Yeah, I've noticed with Vikings, like a lot of because again, I'm a Vikings fan, so I've either owned or I've seen a lot of the modern Viking movies. And I've noticed that a lot of Viking movies, they usually have the Vikings doing something with a Viking and then something else. I don't know if you've seen like Outlander with Jim Caviezel and
Yeah,
Ron Perlman and John Hurt. That one was a cool it was like Predator meets Beowulf. I really enjoyed that
yeah,
movie.
that was really good. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So we got your campaign right here. You're 83%. You're almost there. And man, that's awesome. It's pretty solid launch. I seen you on Mike's stream or Bancroft's stream. I was there. That was an awesome launch. You got a trailer right here. It's cool if we play the trailer.
Yep.
Dope. Play that quick. All right, let me start it over.
Raid of the White Leopard, Book 1, is the story of a band of Vikings that get caught up in a storm and wash up on a mysterious island. Written by Edwin Acevedo, the writer of The Ace, with art by Avery Butterworth from the Lost Pages. Back it today on fundmycomic.com.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. I love that trailer.
Yeah, just want to do like something a little shorter because my Ace ones are usually like 2.5 minutes and they're pretty long. So I just thought like I need to do something a little shorter, more to the point. Had Michael Beacon did the voiceover, which is awesome. I tried to do one, it was terrible. So I was like, you know what, Michael, he does a lot of kind of voiceovers for his work and stuff. So he came through with that. And then Shane Mess kind of put all the clips together and everything. So little hardline trailer for you right there.
Hell yeah. I love those guys. They did a great job. I love this cover right here too, man. He's kebabbing too and breaking the sword off the pummel, off the handle at the same time. Donald DeLay, huh?
The one and only, you know. Me and Donald, we've done a lot of work together. He did the my first Ace cover, you know, so I had to bring him back to do a little sign for Vikings. You know, just want something dynamic that really kind of leapt off the page. And you see Arik here, who's the lead Viking guy, just kind of going nuts. And yeah. So it really captured everything. And then how comics and Alonso put the finishing touches on it with the colors, really making it pop and just like super dynamic and really captures everything that I wanted, man. You know, so really kind of the cover needs to grab you. This is a lot more violent than my regular covers. So yeah, you know, it kind of fit the theme. I love that logo that Hal did for me. I think it was fantastic. So yeah, just everything just came together, man. Once I saw it with the logo on top, I was like, "This is the cover, man. This is it."
I think Hal is probably like I don't know, maybe like he goes from like the top to like, for me, like influences in the scene right now, like just in comics in general. The stuff that he does is just like really remarkable. Like the quickness that he does it and like the professionalism. I'm just like, wow, all the energy and just art, man. I love what he's doing. Again, too, Donald DeLay, man, to focus on energy and the kinetic energy that he puts in his work and on your covers, like just all the stuff what's going on in here. I'm a big fan of art like that, and that's why I love Donald's work, and I love Vikings. So when there's some other stuff in here too that like kind of might be spoilery, but I'm not gonna. A couple of spoiler things in there, but I'm not gonna dive into that.
Yeah, so Donald, like, you know, we kind of get each other as far as like what we like to see on covers and stuff like that. So it's always good to work with him.
Yeah, and then he drew Bloodborne, man. I can't wait to get that.
Yeah, Bloodborne is the ash can was sick. I think I still have like 9 copies or so left on my Etsy store. Man. If anybody wants them, like they'll never be reprinted in foil again. It's a beautiful little mini foil cover, so. It's a beautiful little ash can. It's an original story, you know. So it's a really fun project. You know, you'll see more Bloodborne probably starting next year. Me and Joe Ball are getting together to do a full #1.
Oh snap!
So yeah, like me and Joe, we've been talking about doing something for years, but our schedules just haven't lined up. And now that he's winding down on Def. I finally grabbed him. I was like, Joe, man, me and you Bloodborne. He's like, I'm down for the first issue. I'm like, that's all I need, man. Just get you in on it. So yeah, slowly that'll come together. People will start seeing more stuff as the year rolls on.
Yeah, and I love Joe's art too, man. Very inspirational, and just what he's doing and what he's been doing on our scene. You know, it's Joe's very remarkable.
Just incredible,
fucking beast. You want to talk a little bit about the synopsis of Raid of the White Leopard for our audience members?
Yeah, so Raid of the White Leopard Book 1 is the story of a bunch of Viking raiders who get caught up in a storm, and they end up washing up on a mysterious island. And kind of the idea of this is I wanted to do a Viking story, but they had a twist to it. I originally put it out through Alterna on their anthology series, basically 7 pages, and then you know you see the Viking story, and then at the end there's like a twist, and you go, "Oh, what's that?" And then that's kind of like the hook. So you know now we're coming up with a full #1, which includes the original pages to set up the story, and then we go and we introduce you to the White Leopard.
On Fund My Comics.
Sorry.
So we end up going to the island and kind of showing you who the White Leopard is, and we start showing you some of what the island's about. and it kind of puts these kind of two kind of different things together, and you don't know exactly how it comes together. That's kind of like the fun of it, the surprise. It's got some mystery to it. So it's just a really fun project, man. And the art, I think, is absolutely fantastic. Avery's just a killer.
Yeah.
Just every time he delivers a new page, it just has so much to it. It just blows you away.
He's another one of those killers, man. Him and also Dahl. Yeah. It's like all those guys. They're almost part of the Hardline crew in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. They work
Hardline
so
boys.
much, you know? Yeah.
Within there, you know, in some ways.
So
I love that
man.
shot, man. It's like you're there, man. Like it's really like really immersive. Like you're on the ship with these guys. You know what I mean? And the black and whites, it really just brings the weight of it. You know, I've talked about this before. I'll talk about it again. With black and white, when you're adding all that shadow, your block, it's just blocking in blacks, and that block weighs. It weighs on you and pulls you in, and you're inside. You're inside the ship, or you're inside the haunted house. You know what I mean? And you're there. You know, and that I really love that. I love that approach for this too. It's almost got that Savage Sword of Conan feel to it. Man, yeah, I love the just what he's doing right here with obviously the Zipatone's cool too. All the line work in there, man. It's just really gritty, really scratchy, fucking metal.
Yeah, man. I love that bottom panel there is one of the first one he sent me. I was blown away after that. I was like, all right, we're going all in on this one then, because it just captures so much. It captures so much of the panel, the like the seriousness of it. You know, it's just got just like a, you know, if I could show anybody anything probably about the book to sell them on, it's probably that panel, just because it speaks to me every time I see it.
With his face like, talking.
Yeah, it's just that's
gods
it.
Truly have a sense of humor.
That's all you need. Like you just like you feel the weight of him, you know, and what he's going through, what he's gone through without knowing anything about him. So it's just such beautiful detail, and just it really is. And then probably my second favorite is that page right there with the ocean swing, and then the next is the lightning strike there.
Boom.
That's what
I like this too,
about, man.
Some of his art reminds me of like certain spots, but not all of it. But some of it reminds me of my favorite Mike Mignola stuff, like when he was doing like the first Hellboy and some stuff. Obviously, some of it's very detailed, but that right there kind of reminds me of like a cool Mignola a panel. I love that. Yeah, I'm loving this stuff, man. Very immersive. So it's okay. So the second story introduces the White Leopard and shows some of the history of the island as well as the inhabitants.
Yeah. And
oh
then
man!
You see a preview of the second part of the story. Right here, just.
Oh man, that's so cool.
Just so like, so many cool little touches that he puts into them, and then the little surprises in the panels and stuff. Got like really pay attention to what's going on in them. So.
Well, there's something right there. He's doing something with this palm, the device. There's someone up in there.
Yeah.
There's so many questions, so much mystery. I think you've kept under wraps for this book.
Yeah.
And you haven't given any of away, which is awesome.
Yeah, man. So you know, like I said, this is a little different than stuff I've done before. So it's fun to be able to play around with kind of different themes and different styles. And then that page right there with the White Leopard facing off against these pirates and stuff. Like, there's just so many little things in there.
Yeah, I was trying to scroll through it. I don't want to say who it was.
Yeah, so it's just,
but it's dope.
Cool, man.
It's a cool character, man.
Give you a little taste of it and kind of let you try and figure out what's going on.
Yeah,
you know, that's the fun thing about comics. You know, you'd see like a character on like a book, and you'd be like, I know nothing about this character, and this you want to find out more. You know, it's kind of like the fun of it.
Yeah, and it's good to do that, man. And I think it's hard. I think you've been doing a good job. Like, it's the you know, show don't tell sometimes, you know, or vice versa, and to stick to it for as long as you can in certain ways and certain times. I think you're doing a good job with this book and the whole run you're doing right now. If you want, we could go over some of the tiers. Yeah,
so let me shout out Fanta in the chat there.
Oh, sorry. You know what? I can't see the chat right now, guys. I'm sorry.
Fanta was just stopping by saying hi to me. So.
Or SKOL. SKOL or SKOL, depending on what you want for this one.
Yeah.
So we got the first one right there. That's the Raid of the White Leopard digital PDF for 12 bone.
Yeah. And And if you signed up for the mailing list, it has a little coupon code that you can use, so it brings it down to less than $10 for the PDF, which is, I think, really good.
Yeah, that actually helped me out a lot, man. So I was able to back this book, man. There's so many books.
Yeah,
I want it back, man, and it's helped me out.
Man.
So I
show you, like,
do it.
if you just go to like the main page of Fund My Comic, man, you'll see all these books, and you're like, wow, like, I've always been one of those people, like, man, I appreciate everybody backing, but if you can, just share it out, talk about it, share it to a friend who's into this stuff that can back it. It's all appreciated.
Sure. Share. Like, especially now too, because like some of these like social media sites, man, like they don't. I don't know. We kind of get lost in the algorithm, and yeah, man, it's cool. Like, share as much as you can, because a lot of people in our network need the help, to get eyes on our projects. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're mom and pop books, So right here we got the Raid of the White Leopard comic book. This is just like the standard tier, I believe, right?
Yeah, the standard tier. So 15.5 shipping US. Like I said, with the code, it'll bring it to like 17, which I think is pretty good for like the quality of art that's in this book, even though it's only a floppy. 20 pages, but still, like, there's so much detail and so much stuff put into these pages, like,
Oh, for sure. Excellent deal.
I think it's a good deal. Then I did like a separate Canadian tier only, just because there's a little bit of a little issue with some of like the shipping. I had a potential customer hit me up about it, so I just created this extra tier just for anybody in Canada.
That's brilliant.
It seems to fix the issue, whatever it was.
Well, oh, sorry. I was gonna say, like, even in like Britain, dude, there's a book I wanted to get. I have to get. I'm gonna get one day. There's a bunch of books I got to get this year. This year it's kind of been falling off on a lot of the fellow creators. I haven't been able to back as much this year, but I tried to get books off his site, and for both of his books, for 2 books, it was, I think it was like $15 or something, $10, $20, something like that. But the shipping was 30. I was just like, whoa, it's pretty bad now, the shipping right now. So that's awesome, dude. So you guys, everyone from Canada, get in there. And then you got the 2 right there, 2 for $25.
Yep. Get you a deal if you want to go in with a buddy. Save you a couple bucks there.
Hell yeah.
Like I said, you can use the coupon code on every tier. So
snap.
It just, it'll save you a couple extra bucks.
That's
on top of like the discount. So
that's the best of signing up. Like, for me, like, as I've backed books and I've done a couple campaigns myself, I think that like those discount tiers, bro, like for what you're doing is the best sign up thing possible. I mean, that and the trading cards are cool, but I think that discount, dude, like that discount off anything, I think that's like a really
I think
good,
that's what I'm gonna stick to doing in the future. I think that's
the
most effective. Like,
dude, like, I think that's the best one, dude. Especially like the way the world is right now and the economy and whatnot. It just seems like awesome, Like, sometimes you'll get a tier where it's like, oh, $5 off a $200 perk or something like that. You know what I mean? I'm being loose, but the one you have, it's like $5 off. Like, oh, okay. Like, it's kind of hard. It's easier to back the book when it's something like that,
Mm-hmm.
And we're in a space right now where there's so many books to choose, and it kind of makes it easier. Damn, you just sold a gang of original artwork, huh?
Yeah, we had a bunch of sketch card comic book bundles. Had one by Shelby Robertson, who did a piece. Joe Ball and Brandon Diaz all did some for me. So those sold out actually the first hour. I was super happy to see it.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. That's dope.
And we'll actually be putting up a couple more probably in the next week or 2. I'm just waiting to get the art for some of the guys that I got lined up. So I'll probably announce when everything comes in, kind of when I'm going to drop those. And then we also got some original art pages, man. Just beautiful work by Avery. I have all the 7 Viking pages. So you'll get to choose from those. If those sell out, I might hit up Avery for the other Raid of the White Leopard pages, but I definitely wanted those Viking pages once I knew that was going to be published by Alterna. I was like, I need those. Send them over, brother. So I think the price is super reasonable too. Like, I could easily charge twice that just for the detail that Avery has on them.
Yeah,
like I said, even though
got a name too now, like with
the
Diaz boys.
Yeah, even though he does like a lot of the digital like gray tones and stuff. Like
Yeah.
just the details, as you can see in that when you see it without the gray tones, it still has so much detail. The black still pop. He
Yeah.
doesn't skimp on anything, and then so when you see it's got the little blue line, so you see how he inked it and everything. It's amazing. Like I was blown away by them. So we still got like 5 pages left, so you can snag those up.
Like, to be real, like you could have put the campaign where he didn't have that on there, and I'm like, that's fucking dope. And then you put in the zip tone, like, oh, that's dope too. It's just a little, it's just like kind of 2 different styles. Like they're both equally as good, straight up. Like, so it's just OG art right there, for a good price. So all those art collectors out there that want to get in on this like historical movement of underground crowdfunded comics, like in the world that we're living in, get on this art. It's badass. I love his use of his blocking of shadow right here. So good.
And it's even doubly cool. You're not just getting pages that were published through me. You're getting pages that are published through Alterna. So you're getting like a double dip. It's like a
double whammy.
It's like if you backed something for like Marvel Presents and then Marvel reprinted it in another book. You'd get those original pages. So I think it makes it a little even cooler.
Oh, for sure, man. Well, you guys come on over, check this out. Get in here, guys. You never know. Like, do you think there might be a sequel to this book? Is that possible, or is it a one and done?
Yeah, no. The idea is to do three books in the series.
Snap! Viking
so,
books.
This is book 1. You got book 2, and then book 3 kind of tells like one big epic.
Man.
That's kind of like the plan. So we need to get this first one funded. We're close. Like I said, every backing counts. If you can only do the digital, I appreciate it. If you can do more, then that's even more appreciated. But it's all love. Like I said, share it out, let people know. It's been doing good so far, like I said, but we kind of need a little more of a push to kind of get this. And then once we hit the 1,500 mark, I'll drop the art for the $3,000 stretch goal. And I think people are really gonna like. Excuse me, they're really gonna like the art that I dropped. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. This is a healthy growth campaign. It looks like a lot of people are jumping on it. Got a lot of backers. You guys come get on this.
It's only been 7 days, so yeah, it's crazy. Feels longer than that, but
Yeah, no, totally, man. But yeah, man, get a couple more eyes on this. It'll be funded really quick. They just need to see it, and a lot of that has to do with some of these sites that we're on. They're not really sharing it out as much. So if you guys get back, do it. If you can't, please share it out. And let's get that white leopard out there, guys. Yeah, dude, that campaign looks dope, dude. I can't wait to read it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, and look who we have. What up, Brian?
What up, fools? Sorry I'm late.
It's all good.
Came on at the tail end. Just wanted to show my support for Edwin. Everybody, Edwin's the real deal. Holyfield, and will fulfill on his campaigns. So go check this book out. Back it if you can. If you can't, share the link, because believe it or not, that actually does make a very big difference.
It does.
Hey,
especially if you're like in some of these other like social medias that I'm not on because I don't have enough time in the day for it. If you got a big following there, man, drop the link, let people know, man. Get to where I can't, that's all appreciated also.
I was wondering, Edwin, you got a favorite metal band?
I mean, I can't remember the last time I listened to too much metal. I do have like I don't know what people classify stuff as. My musical taste range from everything from Queen to Limp Bizkit, so I listen to everything. But yeah, I mean, I was super into like Pantera early on.
That's 3 different genres of metal right there. You just named.
That's like
you
that's
you
right
got
there.
prog metal, you got new metal, and you got groove metal.
Love me some Pantera. Obviously like Alice in Chains. Like to me, some that I watch every year is actually they're unplugged.
Oh, yeah, that's dope.
I watch it every year. Like it's
so
like
good.
Religious to me. Like it is one of the most powerful pieces of music you'll ever hear.
I love Wood.
Man, like
that's my favorite. That's my favorite song by them. Even the album when it comes in at the end of the album,
it's fantastic. And then personally, I think the best performance is actually Rooster.
Okay,
not because of anything except for he can't sing Rooster as he normally would.
So, but it sounds better.
So he has to change his voice.
Yeah,
hear, like, the pain in it. Yeah. And it every time I hear it, it just destroys me Okay, I'm thinking like this dude was really singing his life out there on the stage. It's so powerful. We haven't seen it. It's free on YouTube. You can watch the whole thing, and it'll change your life, man. Like that performance to this day, just gives me goosebumps, man. That's the power of music to me.
Oh, totally, man. And like for me, like as I was growing up, I kind of like live performances. Now I fucking love live performances. Yeah. I love watching like how they fumble and get the rebound, or how they pick up the ball and they like get the song back on track, or what they do live, or how they simplify certain parts. Some parts on the album, a band will have like 3 different vocal tracks doing different harmonies or whatnot, like a harmony and then a scream and then a growl all at the same time. How are they going to do that live? How are they going to fumble it? How are they going to pick it up? Like I love that too. But then you jump into like the acoustic unplugged version. That's like the next one. Oh, this motherfuckers don't have distortion now. They have to figure out how they're going to do it. Like, and you're going to hear all their flaws. You're going to hear everything a cappella. It's a really cool way to check it out. I know you're a wrestling fan, and I think that, and so am I. I think it's another thing too. Like when they're out there, they do the same thing. Like how are they gonna fumble, and how are they gonna fix this match? You know what I mean? They obviously have a script, but sometimes they ad lib and whatnot. You know what I mean?
And it's nothing like if you actually get to go to like, especially like an indie show, and you get to be like right in the front row, and you get to hear the hits, and you hear the slams, and you hear all of it. It'll change your perception of it. Because I always love wrestling, but I love like, TV wrestling. But when you're up there close on the front row and you can really see it, it gives you like a whole other appreciation to it, man. It's stuff like these guys are doing is crazy. And then, eventually like some you get to see like their journey. One day they're wrestling in front of 150. Next thing they're wrestling, a couple years later, they're wrestling in front of 10,000. And you get to see like that growth. So that's another cool thing. That's why I'm so like big into it. Probably the last 5 years I've been like super into like indie wrestling, just because it just gives you like a whole different vibe.
Totally.
Well, that's where the creativity and the energy is. The same way the creativity and the energy in the comic book world is in the indies right now, right? Mm-hmm. The problem with mainstream wrestling is that it's just so scripted, and the artists are working with fetters. They can't just freestyle. And and it's a shame, because it's like the most talented, in my opinion, the most talented generation in wrestling history ever, right? But then they can't go off and do their thing. But of course, in the indies, that's always where you see the real energy.
Yeah, man, definitely. Would you ever think about doing like maybe like a wrestling comic someday?
Yeah, like people always ask me, the problem with wrestling is it's so dynamic that it's hard to capture on a page. Right. I've seen people do like good images and good stuff, but if you're thinking about a match, right? Let's think of a match layout. How can you tell a match that's like 15 to 20 minutes in comic book form and make it as dynamic? Like I can have a fight in a book that's like 6-8 pages and make it dynamic. But there's so many little things in wrestling that you just can't capture. Unless you can do like a 360 book or something. Somebody comes up with technology where you could literally just change. But that's like a traditional flat paper. It just becomes super hard. Like you could do a couple interesting pages. I've seen people do them, but to keep that same energy for like a full book in the way that you need it to it's just tough. But if somebody comes up with an idea how to do it, man, I'm down. I'll definitely write it. It's just it's a tough one to crack, man. Like I thought about it for years, but it's super tough.
It is. I've got like 2 wrestling comics coming out. I got 2 wrestling comics coming out.
There you go.
Hopefully. And what I decided to do, I was to focus on what's happening inside the ring between the wrestlers with the referee, and give you like the inside view. Right? Because we're always used to seeing it from the outside, when of course, when they're in huddled close, they're giving each other cues, they're riffing off of each other. The referee is kind of like the choreographer.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point, man.
Right. And then of course, if you got something really crazy, like I took a little inspiration from the legendary barbed wire match between Terry Funk and Sabu. Because I was thinking, okay, well, this has to be horrible. What's the most horrible moment in wrestling? I'm like, okay, it's got to be that. But it's a real challenge. But I mean, that's one of the things that's great about comics, is seeing what it can do, what the medium is capable of. Like in superhero comics, you can have characters having a full conversation while they're beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
Yep.
You do that in a movie, and it's just going to look ridiculous.
Yeah.
And in a comic book, it's just natural. That's why they can never get Spider-Man exactly right.
Yeah.
In my opinion, in the movies, is because of what a wise ass he is and all the shit trash he's talking to throw
how much
the
can
villains
you spit like while you're flipping?
Game.
You know, like how many sentences, how many paragraphs can you spit while you're flipping or going through the air? You know.
Yeah.
That Daniel Warren Johnson's Do a Power Bomb. You got that book?
No.
Have you heard of it? Okay.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah. I've heard good things about it, but I just haven't had a chance to check it out.
I want to check that out. I haven't seen it, but it looked pretty cool. I like his art's pretty dope.
I think he did like a Liger little ash can. I have that.
Oh, okay.
That was pretty cool, dynamic, you know. But like I said,
energy.
So some of the things, like, it's good. It captures it for a couple pages, but you gotta really go into the whole thing for me to do it right. But it's definitely like cool to see, you know, like
challenge.
I'm looking forward to see what Brian does, man. I'm a fan first, so you know.
Yeah.
I'm always rooting for people to do like cool work, especially wrestling. Like wrestling really has so much untapped potential as far as storytelling and stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know, to get it in the right
superheroes,
frame,
bro. Like,
be sweet. Yeah.
They're comic book characters as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
you know what
except that they feel the pain.
They feel the pain.
Even better at some points. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was talking because Rob Van Dam used to own a comic book store at my mall like 20 years ago, and I went in there and I was like, "Oh, can I have your autograph?" Yeah, because I worked at Home Depot and it was across the street from the comic book store, which was a mall. And I went up and seen the guy, and dude, he looks kind of smaller on TV, like Jean-Claude Van Damme. You go up to him in real life, he's huge in real life though. I'm like, whoa, there's all these scars on him you can't even see in like on TV, you know, big old dude, you know. But yeah, man, I have a character in my universe for my comics too, and he's a fucking underground wrestler too. But I don't know how I'm gonna tell the story. Like I'm definitely gonna have a match someday, you know. But it's gonna be hard to tell that in a book. Yeah. And I think a couple other creators are doing wrestling comic. That's to me, that's a whole nother subgenre of comics, you know. It's turning into that because there's not a lot of them, but they're coming out.
No, there isn't.
So,
I mean, like I would love to do a boxing comic.
Yeah,
right?
That's another one. That's you know, and I think there's a couple of those too. Like right now, and there's also metal comics. Like I got a metal. I'm also doing a heavy metal Viking comic, Norse comic. That's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Hell War.
It's called Hell War, but that's going to take me another couple years. But I just love these different like subgenres picking up. There was another one that Rob Zombie and Steve Niles co-wrote called The Nail, and that came out. Simon Bisley did the covers, and it's about an underground wrestler who is his name is Tyrannosaurus Rex, and they were going to make a movie, and DDP or Danny Trejo was going to play him. I think it was DDT was going to play him. They made art and all kinds of stuff. It looked dope. That was like the Rob Zombie movie I wanted, but never came out. But I do have the book. It's called The Nail, and in that book, it's he's in a Winnebago. He's an underground wrestler named Tyrannosaurus Rex. He's got his family with him. He leaves the match. They're going through like some crazy like pine forest, and there's these demon bikers that want to take the family and just kill them and sacrifice them. I'm like, oh, this sounds like Mandy. And but I was just like, wow, the book's awesome. I forget who the artist was, but really good. But again, it was a wrestling book. I just thought, man, and it came out around the time that The Wrestler came out and Beyond the Mat, you know, that was in like a 10-year span, and it really shed light on like the whole sports entertainment industry side of American wrestling, you know. I just thought that was really cool.
I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that now, and you see that also with the current generation of indie wrestlers, for the first time, wrestling is regarded as what it is, which is an American art form. Yeah,
I would call it that, and a sport. Like to me, it's a lot of things.
Well, it's
but it is.
It's so many things at once.
Right. And it's also like El Santo, like you showed me about him. I'm sure you've watched some of the El Santo movies, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's a genre unto himself, dude.
Yeah,
like,
man.
That dude's dope.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because wrestling started out as something that was a sport, and then it was like they realized, oh, wait, this is too boring. So we need to spice it up, but we got to trick the marks into thinking it's real. And then it evolved and became its own thing, which is an American art form. I think the first guy really who realized and recognized American professional wrestling as an art form was Andy Kaufman.
Okay.
Right? And the way that he approached it, and he looked at those guys, he was like, oh my God, these guys are the ultimate entertainers. Right? It's like they're stand-up comics, they're improv artists, they're athletes, they're acrobats, they're stuntmen. It's like everything all in one. Yeah, I'm just fascinated. But yeah, you know, I'm taking a crack at it, and then of course you guys can see how badly I fuck up and go, okay, well I'm not going to do that.
Nah, man. I always love to see. I'm sure it'll be dope.
We'll see.
And his we call it Tequila Sunrise, right, Brian?
Well, that's the one that's down the road. That's like the best thing I ever wrote. And the one I have coming up is Abraxas, which is going to be, which is currently being illustrated by Maxi Diallo.
Oh, okay.
Maxi's awesome, man. Yeah,
oh my God.
He's really, he knows how to capture action, man. Like he did a little short story for me that will be out probably in the next year or so. And I love the way he captured the dynamic kind of action in panels. So
oh my God.
Great pick to do it.
Yeah, when I found out that he was going to be illustrating it, I was just like, "Oh hell yeah!" Because
That's
like
awesome.
we had done a short story together, and he'd like done a little twist on the final panel, and like people were complimenting me on that, like, "Dude, that was dope." I was like, "Yeah, that wasn't me. That was Maxi. God damn it, you know." But that's the thing, you know, is hopefully when you've got an artist and a writer, you compliment each other, make each other look good.
Beautiful.
But yeah, man, I am looking forward to this new book, Edwin. It looks dope. The art looks fantastic, and you were definitely one of those dudes to watch for sure.
Yeah,
so everybody get on this, and you've got like really good, really reasonable tiers too.
Yeah, it's probably the cheapest project that I put out. It was an idea to just do like a more stripped down campaign, kind of more affordable campaign. The focus is really on selling books. And books. I want to get as many copies in people's hands as possible. So, like I said, this is kind of like all the lessons have been learned from all the other projects. 3 fulfilled campaigns in the last couple of years. I'm making this 4. So,
yeah, so you know you're going to get your book, folks, and you're not going to have to wait 3 years for it.
No.
I was wondering, man, have you ever seen the movie Pathfinder with Carl Urban?
Yeah, I see.
What'd you think of that one?
I liked it. Yeah, that was good.
Oh, what's wrong with you guys?
Cool. See, he doesn't like it, but I liked it.
No, okay, yeah, no, I mean, not to like, you know, suck up the air in the room, but yeah, my problem with that movie is the fact that it's just like Vikings versus Native Americans, and it all looks like a Frazetta painting.
That's why I loved it.
No, that's I mean that you would think, right? But then I'm like,
yeah, in certain parts.
What? I'm like, wait a second,
weird.
Yeah,
Frazetta,
I think
Vikings, Native Americans. Why am I snoring?
The last third definitely could have used like some trimming, you know. Yeah.
It has its moments, though. It has its moments. It looks cool.
It does look cool. That's probably the big takeaway from it. Just you probably like with most movies, you just remember the good parts, unless it's just terrible, and then you remember how bad it was. But you know, if it's like a decent movie, you just mostly remember the good parts. You just don't worry too much about the rest of it.
I just remember like napping.
Just sleeping. There was I don't know if you ever heard of it. Like one of my favorite metal bands is Amon Amarth. I don't know if you've ever checked them out, but they're from Sweden. They're Viking metal. You might like some of their stuff. They're really cool. And I think they're kind of like, well, I can't really compare them to anything, but
enslaved a little bit.
Yeah, like every album they put out is really good. And they always write about Viking mythology and whatnot. Like one album might be about Thor, the next one Odin, the next one Loki, the next one Surtur, you know. And they're pretty big. They're the biggest Viking band in the world. They're pretty mainstream now. But the singer he produced a movie called the North. I think it's the Northmen. I think that's what it's called, or Norsemen. I forgot the name of it, but he's in the movie, and it's pretty cool. It's just like about them coming to I think it was like Europe or something like that. Not Europe, but England, and they're climbing this cliff, and they have to deal with all this different stuff. And some of the music videos, without spoiling too much, for the album, they tie up with that, and it's pretty cool. That's a good one. Another good Viking. I'm naming Viking movies just because you're on here, dude. And, I think you might get a kick at them. Another one is I don't know if you've seen, it's an indie one, but it has Gerard Butler in it, Beowulf and Grendel.
No, I don't think I've seen that one.
That one's dope. I don't know. Did you see that one, Brian?
No, I haven't.
Okay. That's just
question.
dope.
Here's a question. Have you guys seen The Norseman from 1978 with Lee Majors?
No. I'll check that one out.
Charles B. Pierce. Yeah, it's pretty funny because there's like a black dude that's like on the Viking boat, just and of course the helmet with the horns and everything like that. Yeah, that's about like Vikings that run into like Native Americans. And,
there's always something like that. In the Beowulf and Grendel, it's you've probably seen the Robert Zemeckis CGI Beowulf movie. That one's pretty cool. Yeah. I like that one. I like that one a lot too. But with Beowulf and Grendel, you have Gerard Butler from 300. You got fucking Leonidas as Beowulf, and it's pretty cool. And then you have Stellan Skarsgård. I don't know, like he's the professor in the Thor movies. Yeah, he also plays in King Arthur. He's a badass Anglo-Saxon. In there.
He's great in King Arthur. Yeah,
that's his best role as far as I'm concerned. He makes that movie in some ways. We don't mate with these people or some shit. He fucks them up at the end, but he's in there and he's like the king. And you have this big old like buff dude that's Grendel, and he has to face the mom. And that was a really cool like kind of indie movie. I like that a lot. Northman was dope. And then there's another one, Valhalla Rising. I don't know if you've seen that one. That one's kind of small with Mads Mikkelsen, which was also in King Arthur. He kind of grew up and got bigger. He became Hannibal for network television. Yeah. And a bunch of Bond. I think he's a Bond villain or in Casino Royale.
Yes, he was Le Chiffre, and also yeah. And actually, I actually just looked it up on IMDb. I don't think it's like, unfortunately, on any streaming services, but there's a version of Pathfinder from 1987 by a guy named Nils Gaup, Gaup. If you could find that guy's movies, they're like low budget Viking movies made by Vikings.
That's dope.
And they have like a real feeling of authenticity to them.
SKOL.
Yeah, and also what I love about them is structurally they're westerns.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's always dope. Yeah.
But with Vikings.
And then we got to mention, because I heard you speaking of this on another stream, The 13th Warrior with Antonio Banderas.
Does not get better than that. Love that movie. It's just like, there was a point where I could literally quote the whole thing. Like, literally, I would just like sit there and just quote it. Just had so much fun. It really captures everything that you want in a movie, because you see like the trailer and stuff, and when I saw that like Banderas playing some like Muslim, like what is this? Like I love Banderas and like assassins and stuff.
I love Zorro, like, dude. Fucking Zorro.
This is ridiculous. And then I remember my buddy had it, and I was like, we were like just hanging. I was like, hey, you want to watch that? I'm like, yeah, man. Like, then I saw 13-4. I'm like, oh, this is terrible, wasn't it? He's like, no, he was really good. I'm like, really? And I trust him. So when he says it's good, I'm like, all right, put it on. Let's see it. And then 30 minutes in, I was like, this is the greatest movie ever. Like I was so into it. I went and bought my DVD copy. I just remember and I watch it all the time, man. Like I'll just put it on. Too. Sometimes I'll just put on the YouTube highlights of it, just like the big prayer at the end always gets me. Like it just like it's so like moving and so well shot,
profound,
and just like it finds, because like you think like all the big movies, there's this big fight at the end.
Yeah.
But it's not really about the fight; it's about the characters making peace with like whatever happens, and the fact that they're from two different like religions,
right?
But they both find like that commonality and like the brotherhood, all of that stuff, fighting for what's right against this like horde that's like unmoving. Like there's so many good stuff about it. It literally just every time I watch it, man, I just think like, if somebody hasn't seen this movie, I just want to introduce it. Like, here, watch this. It doesn't take 5 hours. You can just put this in like less than 2 hours, and it'll just it's amazing.
If you haven't read the novel Eaters of the Dead, I highly recommend that. Highly recommend.
That's a metal title, dude.
It is metal. But I remember seeing that in its theatrical release and being pissed off because like they took all the all of the Beowulf references out because they were like, wait a second. Well, regular people aren't going to know anything about Beowulf, and it's just like, assholes, you could leave that stuff in, and regular people aren't going to bat an eyelash. They may not get it, but right? So then I was mad about that, and then I was just like looking at this beautiful a Viking ship going down a frozen fjord, and that's when I told myself to drink a nice cold glass of shut the fuck up juice and just enjoy myself.
Well, I remember watching as a kid and just being like, this movie's crazy, you know, like it was the first one, like, so a lot of the times with the Viking movies, they'll have like the Beowulf motif, or they'll be doing something like they're gonna encounter something, like they're going somewhere because they went fucking everywhere, right? So and that's dope. That's what's fun about Viking is the exploration. Where are they gonna go? You don't know what. It's the mystery. You know, that's why we love them. And in this one, I was just like, oh, okay, are those fucking big werebears or what is that? Like as a kid, like seeing the trailer and watching it, you know. And as I'm finding out as an adult later on, like they did go down. They went to the Middle East. The Vikings did. There's testimonials of a Muslim dude that met Vikings and he talked about them and spoke of them, and they went into that a little bit in season 3, but it was kind of loose. So that was some historical accuracies. There's Indo-European tribes that were berserker-esque that weren't even Vikings that were wearing those headdresses and wolf skins and bear skins that were doing things like that. So like later on now, as I'm watching this film, I'm just like, oh damn, dude, there's a lot of like kind of historical, like almost accurate, like but not like accurate. You know what I mean? Like, well, it's touching on a lot of stuff that is accurate. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
Them taking the bowl and like spitting in it and like washing their faces in it, you know, and like doing all that. Like,
I love how it plays with like you expect like the ignorance of like Vikings, and then like he's basically bigoted in so many ways. So it plays on that trope of you thinking like he's kind of like an asshole compared to them because they're like honest, you know, like they invite him on and take him in as a brother, which so it kind of you find out when he puts away his like arrogance. And just like he's like, you know, I'm one of them now. Like he has to like adapt to them, and the way it plays, and then they adapt to him, like you know, like they adapt to him, and it's just like it really has, and just a little dialogue between them, like the way they like, you know, they make fun of his horse and stuff, you know, just like the little touches that it has. It's still like well done.
Another thing is like the way they shift from like American to like everyone speaking the same language. You know what I mean? I was watching that new movie Medieval. Fucking loved it. Check it out. It's on Hulu, I think, right now with Ben Foster. Fucking dope. Everybody speaks English. You know, some people are in English accents, some people are in American accents, some people might be a fucking, you know, Norwegian or Australian, but it doesn't fucking matter. And like they kind of did that in that movie a little bit too. And there was another movie you were talking about the other day, Brian, where when they're speaking, I think it was Valkyrie with Tom Cruise, you know, like we're all just speaking. Like we all know that everyone's speaking in like different accents and whatnot. And who gives a fuck? Let's listen to the story. And I think that happened too in the 13th Warrior, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That was the most clever, one of the most clever things I ever saw, because it's just like, well, you can't have subtitles because Americans won't read subtitles. Right. And the way they did that, how suddenly he'd be listening to them and you'd suddenly hear like a word in English amongst the Norwegian, and it just like gradually, I thought that was brilliant.
Also, like it shows like he's an intellectual.
Yeah,
like it shows that they use these little touches, like in small scenes, that gives you so much character depth.
Yeah,
like you know when he cuts the sword down to like a blade, and then the guy's like, "Can I give that to my daughter?" You know, like
pick my dude with it.
Like that's just like that's such like an amazing, and they're all laughing there. You sense that brotherhood. You know, after like they've been in battle and stuff, and there's like just like a calmness, and then when they end up setting up the big guy and they kill him to like show the prince who's been scheming. You know, it shows like an intellect to the Vikings. They weren't just like idiots. You know, like they're plotting, like they're smart.
Scheming. That was the worst thing. That was the worst thing about the Vikings. They were smart.
Yeah, so you get so much little things like that. You know. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be like 3 hours. You know, they give you everything that you want in this, and then they just give you enough, and you're like, it's so watchable. Like I said, if you haven't seen it, man, just put it on. I guarantee you, the first 30 minutes, you'll be hooked in, and you can finish it off, man. It's fantastic.
It really is, and that's a movie that time has been really kind to. But if you look at the original novel, it's a pulp novel. I mean, it's even dedicated. Yeah, it's dedicated to Robert E. Howard.
Fuck.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, you also look at like some of the other novels that Michael Crichton did, like Congo. That's like an Edgar Rice Burroughs.
I love
novel.
Congo, dude. I love that movie. Loving it. I love watching growing up. Those big gorillas were so scary, dude. Like their faces melted and like they. Oh man. Like when I was drawing your 6-gun gorilla piece, that was a big inspiration for me.
Oh, wow.
I actually like was photo referencing all these Congo gorillas because I just couldn't get that evil gorilla. Like I wanted that for your character. I think I told you about that, but
yeah, thanks, dude. I appreciate
it. They just
it.
look so mean. Like
I love that piece.
It's the eye sockets of the empty void.
Can't wait to use that for something, man. That's gonna be a pinup or something cool.
Something else for you too, man. I don't give a fuck. Edwin, I gotta ask you, man. What's your favorite beer, dude?
I don't drink much, but I'm like a Corona guy. If you
okay,
offer me one, I'll never turn it down.
Choice?
But I don't really drink much. Like
sure.
usually, if I do, like if somebody offers it, I'll probably take it. But it's not something that I'm really too into. But a nice cold Corona definitely hits the spot.
Oh hell yeah, man! Yeah, some ice. There's one dude that's like Corona I like is a Jalisco Estrella. That one's really good. I had that one over in Mexico last year. I went down there for a week or so. Jalisco, Guadalajara. That place is pretty dope. It's like Mega City 1 in Gotham City, dude. Fucking, I was taking pictures. Oh man, love that place. That's where my wife's from. Yeah, man, that one's pretty cool. I always ask people who come on what their favorite beer is. So a lot of people drink, a lot of people don't, but they always drink something. So I always like to hear what they got to say. But yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, Edwin, man. I can't wait to read this book. It looks fucking dope. I'm very excited about this. I'm very excited about funding and hitting those stretch goals for what's to come for this book.
Yeah, guys, you're gonna love some of the pieces I have, especially the first one I'm gonna drop once we get funded. I think it's gonna be a fun piece. Everybody's gonna like.
Oh hell yeah, man! And where can people find you, man?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Edwin Aces. That's where you'll get all the latest updates, news, anything that's going on with me and any of my books. There, I'm also on the Hardline every Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern on Zaid Comics channel. We're the most consistent YouTube stream going. We've been on for a couple of years now, and we're just killing it every Monday. So it's a lot of fun hour. We get into shenanigans and nonsense. Nothing, you won't get the same tired topics everybody else does.
Right.
We just like to go out there, have fun, talk about food topics, talk about babes of the week, all that kind of fun stuff. And just have fun for like an hour and a half. So go check it out.
Yeah, I love the hard line. Yeah, and Brian, where could people find you?
Oh, we can find me on the Twitters at Brian Kriskow. You can find me on the Facebooks at Brian Kriskow. And of course, in half an hour, we're going to be doing Horror Movie Club tonight, which is going to be, we're doing Peeping Tom. That
was a good one.
Hey, the movie that destroyed its director's career. If it ruined somebody's life, you got to at least give it a look.
Right? Hell yeah. Well, thanks for Edwin for coming on. It was a pleasure. Thanks for Brian for coming on and being my co-host. Man. And
gotta show my support for Homeboy here.
Oh hell yeah! And thanks to everybody that watches and that's gonna watch and that are here now. And always remember to be bold, be brave, and roll the bones to know your role. You guys have a great day.
Peace.